Today's September 27th, 2025.
Hey, T. Hey, T.
He's all excited because I had to pull out a gun. He comes over and smells it and everything. But yeah, somebody who was drunk, come over and he didn't come over here. He's going down the road, and I don't know, man. He was making noise and stuff, and I confronted him, and from my yard, and then he told him to shut the fuck up and stuff like that, And so he almost hops over my fence. He starts shaking on it and everything. And after that situation happened, I wasn't sure if he was going to jump over or not. But he didn't jump over. But anyway, after that, I went and got the Glock and put the put the cartridge in it. I think that's what it's called. And made sure it had bullets. Well, T got all excited, man. He heard me, go like that with it and everything, check the chamber and all that. And he come over, started smelling everything. He got all excited and stuff, All right, well, that's Mr. T. He's born for battle. And that's one consideration, Then another consideration I'm making, on this day, September 27th, 2025, is, sport got a pellet in him from getting shot. And I'm pretty sure it was recently. I didn't see the entry wound, but it must have healed up. But it's in there, and he's got a problem with his spleen now. And I don't know what happened to him, and it seems like it all happened recently. I mean, his change, happened recently. He's not eating, and he's still not eating. I try to feed him, I haven't forced food down him yet, but I might have to start doing that. Is a weight, and it makes me angry. And it makes me angry at people, and it makes me say stuff like I said in my last journal entry. I'm kind of old school, I don't just believe in an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. I believe in a head for an eye. Or a head for a tooth. And let that head roll. It's a principle. And so what you're going to allow and what you're not going to allow. And so it is in my attitude toward everything in life. Even in politics. And politics is social stuff. And we are social. And that's a situation that we have been given. It's our construct. And there's certain rules of engagement. And as groups of people have civilized and tried to utilize best practices. Okay, well, one of the advancements that we've made as a civilization, it was, even though we started out bad and everything. I mean, coming over from England and stealing land as a, talking about as a group of people from the Indians and everything, and then fighting against where we came from, and then the Declaration of Independence. But if you look at the Declaration of Independence and just say in a punctiliar, fashion, or not considering everything before or everything after, but just consider what the Declaration of Independence stands for, and then the subsequent, Constitution of the United States of America, and what it stands for and everything. Okay, well, that's a pretty good achievement. And if we see, who was it? I don't know if it was Benjamin Franklin, or I think it might have been Benjamin Franklin, but it was one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence. And he said, somebody asked him a question about I think it was about the democracy, the republic, when it was first formed, might have been 13 colonies, or it might have been after, but the very beginnings of it, and because he's one of the signers, and somebody asked him a question about something about it, and his reply was, "It's great, as long as you can keep it." Okay. But the Declaration of Independence, not the Declaration, but the Constitution, Declaration of Independence, I find no fault with. Okay, but but the Constitution does, for example, and I wanted to actually make this one because of this situation right here, and now look here. I saw Trump's brazen cash for pardon scam. I saw Trump's brazen cash for pardons scam. And see, the thing is, in our Constitution, the rules of engagement, and I'm talking about in politics, not war necessarily, but it's still kind of like war. It's a competition between, interests and parties. But, see, the rules are that the president can pardon, he can even pardon criminals, and people can commit crimes for him, and he can pardon them. And that is written in the Constitution, that he can do that. And he's pushing it to the limits, It used to be that most people who got voted into office to be the president of the United States who actually had a little bit of honor, and they were honest. So, but as time goes on, it seems that they're becoming more and more dishonest. Like President Nixon was dishonest, and he said if the president does it, then it's all right. Okay? And he did some bad stuff. He got impeached. He resigned before he got impeached. But Trump, he's proof that there's really a lot of stupid people in America. and there's a lot of greedy people. And there's a lot of people that would want to dominate and stuff. And, he's a bad guy. But he's playing by the rules. He is playing by the rules. If he wasn't playing by the rules, and we wouldn't be in the situation that we're in right now. And that just registering that thought that Trump can actually break the law. He's impune. He can break the law with impunity. He can do whatever he wants to because he's the president, and that is executive power, according to the Supreme Court, which had a ruling about that recently. There's a bad flaw in our Constitution. And I hope in the future, we can put up guardrails against that or change the Constitution altogether. But there's a whole big group of people that want to change the Constitution to have an authoritarian kind of regime in charge. with all the power, and it's the rich people that are in control. Always. All right. And it's like Jesus, Jesus said, I'm thinking about Christians, because all these so-called Christians that went to Charlie Kirk's funeral, and then just to watch, the president and then Charlie Kirk's wife like hug each other, and Jesus Christ, man, it was sick. And then the expression in Trump's face, I mean, if you watch the body language and stuff, just if you watch the whole thing, objectively, and you're not actually, drinking the Kool-Aid, it's kind of sickening. And then you hear Stephen Miller get up and spout out about, just like straight as if he was somebody from Nazi Germany reincarnate, okay? Like, and using the same words, even like land, like, I don't know, blood and soil maybe, or whatever, I don't remember, it wasn't blood and soil, but it was like, there's certain words that have to do with identifying, these are code words, these are like secret words, these are words that every white supremacist understands what the hidden meaning is, okay? It's like what they call a dog whistle. And, all groups of stratuses in society, different ones, like either like the teenage group, or the younger groups know about games like Charlie Kirk's killer, if he actually did get killed, his supposed killer. Okay, that guy, when they examined all his stuff, he makes a lot of reference to like, gaming, stuff from games. And, that's just relevant to his group. Like, I don't know nothing about it, because I don't play, video games and stuff. I don't know nothing about it. And it's all white supremacy, they got certain words and everything. And, but now look, now, the president, I saw Trump's brazen cash for pardons scam. So he probably, if you got enough money, then you pay him, because he's already he received like a $4 billion jet from Qatar, and then they got a special deal, and he got the jet for himself. Well, the jet wasn't given to America, it was given to him. And then he made a special deal with him on behalf of America. Same thing with China. Anybody that he can get a personal benefit, he'll do it. He'll sell out America, which is actually what he's doing. And the ironic thing is that Christians put him in office. Because I looked at the statistics, Christians, identified Christians with 80%. It might have even been more than 80%. It might have been 88%. I can't remember exactly, but it was at least as high as 80% of. Let's see. I can't remember if 80% of the people that voted for him were Christians, or if 80% of all Christians voted for him or something. I don't really know. I can't believe it would be 80% of all Christians. A lot of people don't really identify themselves as Christians, but they are more Christian-like than the ones that say that they're Christians. Like that whole assembly of a whole bunch of people filled up a football stadium, I think, of people, for Charlie Kirk's memorial service. And a lot of it was espousing like white nationalism, white supremacy kind of stuff. And not everybody really knows the deeper meanings. It's kind of like the Knights Templars and stuff like that. They talk about they're like different levels of understanding and everything like that. Well, you can have a whole group of people, and some of them understand certain things. They were talking about like all the gay people in that assembly, and how they hook up when they go to the bathroom, the men's bathroom, for gay men. Anyway, look, you'll find out about a lot of stuff if you actually study it. But the thing that I'm studying is, my own emotions, because I was thinking, okay, like they say that this kid got radicalized. All right, well, certain things kind of are like radicalizing me. I can feel the radicalization in my spirit, and in my heart, and in my soul, and in my mind. And I try to think about things before I get into the actual situation, so I know I don't off the cuff make some kind of stupid mistake. But like when that guy was yanking on my fence today, I took my whole cup of coffee up to there, and I flung it at him. He almost hopped over my fence. He's about 100 pounds bigger than me. He could have did some damage to me if he would have tackled me and stuff. And he was drunk. But I don't think that since he was drunk, I think I might have got the better of him, but I can't guarantee that, because sometimes I always think I'm stronger than I am. I already learned that. Anyway, I learned that all my life, going against bigger people. Bigger people, man, if you're bigger than you, unless you know martial arts or something, they've got the advantage sometimes. I mean, if they get on top of you, Jesus Christ, how you gonna get them off? I've been beat up before. I got hit with a baseball bat in the head one time. Anyway, stuff like that, like what happened to sport, and then this guy, and what I see on politics, on TV, and I think about what the rules are, and what are the rules. Like I'm always thinking, like, what am I really allowed to do? Like, look, man, I got my gun out now. In preparation. If anybody hops the fence, man, I'm gonna plug them. I don't think I'm gonna be. I was trying to figure out, like, if I would, like, try to hit him, somewhere we're gonna do least amount of damage, like, like the foot, or if I should just aim for their chest and pull off a couple shots. At least hit him in the chest first, and then hit him in the head. Because just in case I miss, like if I tried for the head and I missed, it might give him a running start to actually tackle me. But if I shot him in the chest and then I shot him in the head, okay. But the other thing you got to consider is, like, I mean, would I get thrown in jail or something? Well, you can't really trust everybody, man. Sometimes people, like, I've been thrown in jail for something I didn't even do before. And you get putting your trust in a cop or something. What if that cop has got, like, he don't like you? Because I had a cop throw me in jail because he didn't like me one time. I knew it was out of retribution. Because I told him off once. And then when the situation came, and he came to the situation, and I was there, guess who went to jail? Because he proved to me. He couldn't do anything when I told him off, but, he remembered me. I remembered him. Yeah. And I went to jail. And this is the way that it also is in politics, like in Trump's world. All right, Trump is trying to put people in jail, okay? Because now he's the head cop. Okay? He's the one in charge, and he is like Comey said, a mob boss. All right, I think I've made my point. Right now in this journal entry, I'm making it because I feel that it's one of the most very important things is an honest evaluation of the emotional forces that dictate, and they do dictate, and you have to combine intelligence with with emotion, and try to prepare for the situation, for the emotional situation. Because what the situation will call for is it will call for an emotional response. And, we have to be smart about what kind of an emotional response we're going to give. I can just tell you, it's first better to try to be nonviolent. But I'm not going to be the one to tell you that there's never going to have to be a Second Amendment solution. Because I know, based on what I know about history, how bad things can get. And the way that I look at it is I'm going to kill before I'm killed. But the higher level of thinking, okay, though with that, there's like like in psychology, there's like something called Maslow's hierarchy of need. Okay, it's like a pyramid. Down here at this part of the pyramid, you got basic needs, like survival needs, like food, sleep, shelter, like that. Okay, then up a little bit more, you got another layer of situation, of involvement, and that is, your social kind of layer, working with other people, cooperating, stuff like that. And above that, you got another layer, and then that is like making intellectual, and spiritual and maturational, developmental advances and growths, and becoming, realizing a higher vibration. Okay, realizing a higher vibration, so to speak, taking the virtues, integrity, honesty, courage, love, judicial, executive, though that stratosphere is more higher toward the peak, and at the very peak, it was either Rogers or Maslow. I can't remember. I know it's Maslow's hierarchy of need. All right, I'm not sure if Maslow has the self-realization up there, if that comes from Carl Rogers or, but at the very top you got self-actualization. I gotta figure out what that means. No, that's actually, but you can't get way up there until you have the basic stuff down here met. That's why, see what Trump did to Chicago. He defunded all their money for improvement projects, societal improvement projects, for people and stuff. And he stripping them of all that help, and then bringing in the armed guard and stuff like that to try to dictate by force. That's a totally different kind of stripping them of all their self-actualization and all their moral and societal advances and growths and stuff like that, stripping them of all the things that are necessary to try to get people higher than their basic needs of survival to community, and then from community maybe a higher kind of consideration in life, and a deeper involvement, and something that's more meaningful, and something that can sustain a better way of living in a community. So Trump strips some of that and brings in force because he wants to, because that's the way he is, That's his personality. And that's what he's doing. And the thing is, in our Constitution, you know, he can do that, and that's lawful and by the rules. So what that teaches us is that it's okay to lie, cheat, and steal. The Constitution teaches us that it's okay to lie, cheat, and steal. You just got to play by the rules. You only can lie, cheat, and steal completely if you're the President of the United States. So they hold that out there for one person, the president. Well, the president can pardon people. See, and this is a silliness, a stupidity of this here constitutional construct that we're forced into right now at the moment. But hopefully, you know, we can make some improvements, and this can be a turning point for an improvement, because we know now what a diabolical person as the president holding the office of the presidency, how much disaster and destruction he can cause, and how he can you know, cause wars within America just so he can manage them, and outside of America, and so he can retain power and make reasons why there can't be an election, you know, after him or something like that. You know, seriously, this is actually how it is. And so, and I had to say that because, you know, I'm going to watch it. It's on the Daily Beast. I saw Trump's brazen cash for pardon scam. Like, if you got enough money, he'll give you a pardon. And if you do something for him and it's illegal, or if it's a crime, he'll give you a pardon. If you do it for him, he pardoned like 15. I don't know. I think it was more than. I think it was actually. I know it was like 1,600 at least. Pretty sure it was like 1,600, but could have actually been even more than that. But everybody that was involved in the insurrection, you know, people got killed. All right, it didn't matter. Because they were fighting for Trump. Everybody that took part in that insurrection, which was illegal, and even people got killed and stuff, every one of them got pardoned because they did it for. Look, that teaches us in America what the rules are, okay? And the rules are different for people with money than they are for people without money. But there's a lot more people without money than there are with money. So, the numbers equal out the contest. Okay, the rich have more power. Okay, they got more money, and money answers all things. That's a verse in the Bible. Money answers all things. I think it comes from the book of Ecclesiastes, my favorite book. But there's a lot more people, and see, when I say a situation like this makes me so hot and stuff, it kind of radicalizes me in a sense, you know. And so when they use the term, you know, radicalizing, you know, they say, you know, kids get radicalized and stuff like that. That's not that big of a deal, okay? Life will radicalize you, okay? I don't care who you are. You're going to be radicalized one way or the other. And being radicalized is not a bad thing. A president is radicalized. But anyway, that's my journal note, because you know, it can get pretty intense, life, and right now it is getting pretty intense, and my personal experience has been pretty intense, but it has given me time for pause and consideration. I don't want to. Oh, yeah, okay. I don't want to put nothing in there right now, but I don't want to shoot nobody. But in the heat of the moment, I might. I never really kept a gun before, but now I feel the need. All right, bye.